by India. He went to the chemical. I tried to remember. Institute of Chemical Technology, where he got a bachelor's in pharmacy, which sort of augured his interest in pharmacology. He then came to the biochemistry PhD program in 2010, and he joined my laboratory in 2011. And he came into my laboratory because he was interested in drug discovery. And at the time, we were, and we still are, interested in small molecule discovery for G protein signaling. And so it seemed like the right place for him to come. He was interested in going into pharmacology and finding new drugs. But the one problem with that is I gave him this, so we found a bunch of these molecules that bind to G proteins and modulate their activity, but I decided to give Chinmay1 that didn't do anything. And it was his job to figure out if it actually did do something. And it turns out that this particular compound, in contrast to the other ones that we had, has very dramatic effects on cell biology. And so even though it didn't do anything in some of the in vitro assays that we did of G-beta gamma function, it had dramatic effects on cell biology. And basically his thesis turned into a cell biology thesis to try to figure out exactly what these molecules are doing and how they influence cell function. And so he's strayed a bit from his thesis direction, took him pretty far away from the drug discovery idea, because it turns out probably, I wouldn't rule it out, that this particular compound is not really a drug, and he didn't really do much drug discovery, but he discovered that there are a lot of things you can do with chemistry to figure out things about cell biology, and that it's worthwhile and interesting to find out important aspects of how cells function without necessarily having it as a drug intervention, which is the way biology used to be, but more recently where everything used to be translational. Now you can actually figure things out that are important about cell biology. So he's been relatively productive. He has a middle author paper in Science Signaling. He's got a first author paper in Journal of Biological Chemistry. And I finally submitted yesterday. We can claim that he has submitted a significant portion of this work yesterday for publication. We'll see how that comes out. I think that'll be very good if you can have these two first author publications, maybe a couple of middle author publications in good quality journals where they're going to get some attention. So Chinmay has done a great job with this project. When you come to my laboratory, a lot of students find that the only thing that is in common between projects is there's G proteins involved. And so we end up going into these areas where we have totally no experience, such as immunology, for example. So there's G proteins there, but we're not real experts in immune cell biology. So it was up to Chinmay to learn new techniques, go out and find collaborators to do things, and he was very good at doing that. He was very interested in identifying new methods, finding people. He's very collaborative, and he found people like Minsu to go work with to get things done that needed to get done. And this is one of the very positive attributes that I found with Chinmay. He found ways to get things done that needed to be done, despite the fact that I didn't have the assay sitting in my laboratory waiting for him to do. He knew this needed to be done, he went out and got it done. And so this is very valuable to me. And it's going to be a very valuable thing for him in the future, because it's not just about thinking about this, it's going out there and doing it. And Chinmay is very good at that. I'll also say that I'm really going to miss him a lot in the laboratory. He has this really infectious attitude, very positive, despite me giving him crap about this or that, this experiment stinks or so on. He sort of laugh it off, go and do it again. I usually try to be nicer than that, but as a PI, you have to be somewhat critical, and he always took it very well and went back and looked at it as a learning experience. So it's that kind of positive attitude, a general positive attitude in the laboratory that I think is infectious. It created a great laboratory atmosphere. So I really am going to miss having you around. That's a real honest statement. Not only just for the science, but for the attitude that you brought to the lab, and you know, it brings people up around you when you have somebody like that in the lab. So with that, I'll let Chinmay talk about his story, which is titled The Dynamic Duo, G beta gamma and G alpha and regulation of cell migration.
Thank you, Alan, for this wonderful introduction. So I have changed the title of my talk for suiting the general wider audience. So the title of my talk will be the role of G alpha I and beta gamma in regulation of cell migration. So what is cell migration and why is it important? The first paper was published in PubMed in 1870, way before most of us, or almost all of us, were born. So cell migration